What's up, guys? This is David Chen on another edition of Pandanomics Podcast, New York City's #1 podcast. And, as we're growing tall and wide and the Pandanomics community is growing and we're looking at different industries and functions, today we have a very special guest, well-known in the NFT crypto technology space, the one and only Geeks. Geeks, what's going on? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, GM, what's up, David?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good. We'll talk a little bit about everything else, but most people, when they see the name Geeks, they're trying to understand why is it Geeks and not your name or anything else. Explain a little bit why that is and how you've done that with the community.
Geeks is, I've always been kind of a dork or a nerd, so NFT nerd was good, but I like Geeks. I wanted to have kind of a squad, you know what I'm saying? So when we first started on our NFT venture, I kind of, made my PFP, named it Geeks, and there we go. That's how you get the Geeks.
So as you're being called Geeks and going from there in the NFT culture, now for a lot of people out there, everyone's heard of NFTs. They know a little bit about it. I think our community definitely understands the NFT crypto market, but it's been a rough market, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely been a rough market. There's been a lot of rug pulls. There's been a lot of unsavory human beings that have really destroyed what the essence and the need of what an NFT was and how it was supposed to help these people. And we heard these amazing stories of these people out there that were artists that were starving and poor, and all of a sudden had their art became big and lavacious, and people that were unfortunately iconic, and they did NFTs and it took them to the next level. But that became a lot of these scammers and going from there. And from our conversations, that's what's really got you started heavily into the NFT space, because you saw those principles that weren't aligned, which then had you start one of the biggest conferences of the year, which I'm extremely excited about to speaking at, one of my very first and few appearances in the NFT world that I can actually back, which is the NFT Las Vegas coming up next weekend, August 26, 28, out there in Las Vegas, right? And that was the essence of why you created that. So explain a little bit about your thoughts on the market itself and then how you created this amazing expo from that thought process.
Yeah, the market goes up and down. I mean, the only thing that we do know is Ethereum's going to go up or down tomorrow. That's the only thing we know. That's the market's very unpredictable and it's very volatile. So, when it's up, the good times, everybody's having good times. And when it's down, you've got to be creative and you got to stay, keep your head in the game and you got to keep building somehow, some way, whether it's your personal portfolio when things are, on fire sale, or whether it's your community or your network. The time to build is in the downtime. And so, during this dip, the Blue Chimps, the project that I'm with, we decided, hey, you know what? No one's really been to Las Vegas. Let's get everybody together, bring everybody in one place, bring some industry, some seasoned vets from the NFT space, and let's get everybody back in the saddle, because the good times are coming again. We do know that. So
when you are throwing an event like this and you're trying to vet guys who aren't rug pulls going from there, and you're such an expert in the market, Geeks, and you see the ones that are really great, what really separates a great NFT from one that you would be cautious and wary about?
Well, everybody, you hear the famous slogan, do your own research. And this is part of that. Part of doing your own research is developing friends in the space, good people. So you've got to know people so you can bounce things off them. Hey, what's this? What's going on with that? What do you think about the contract? I think it's a little dangerous to be the guy that knows everything, right? So, it's good to just know people that know a lot of stuff. So I feel like building relationships is a key thing in avoiding being rugged. And that's, having friends that you're maneuvering with every day. Also, hearing from the people that have been here and done that, the people that we have coming have been in the space for you know, a year, 2 years, several months, and are very reputable. So, I think it's a combination of building relationships in the space and being educated. And those are two big things that we're focused on with this event.
Yeah, I feel like with any market, greed just took place of this, right? They took this beautifully constructed thing that you and I and a lot of people believe in to help disparaging people and made it work. And so when you have a qualifying conference like yourself that turns around and wants to highlight guys that understand the industry and expo, then you're taking a group of leaders, man. And like I remember like sitting there and watching Luna get crushed. And I remember watching the NFT market start getting pulling the same time the market is falling in tradition. And for the first time in history, look at it. And then you're wondering what's happening. And secretly and surely you're hearing things like Blackstone might be doing it, instead of what might be behind it because they're cashing in on their Bitcoin and the reserves, and poof, numbers drop, Coinbase goes back up, and BlackRock invests back into it, right? And so you see this movement of this market, and don't think that, and I want to ask your thoughts on this, that the market isn't also getting pushed and back like any other market with up and downs. I think that's important. I think the second thing is like, who the hell's running it, right? Like if the guy who's saying he's running it and NFT doesn't have a reputation, then why would you put money behind it anyways? Would you have any business, right? And so what are your thoughts on that, man? Because it drives me nuts when I see things like that.
Well, the NFT space is a very attractive space. It's new. It's the Wild West. There's a lot of opportunity, right? So you're going to see a lot of people. They hear about it, and in 1 week they're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to launch an NFT project." I don't think they really understand, what it really takes to build a community and to run an NFT, I guess, business, so to speak. I mean, these really are small businesses and even sometimes large businesses. So they have to be organized. They have to be, you have to have, you have to have goals, and you have to execute your, all of the things that you want to do. So, but I can tell you, you know, any business, and I've said it before, I say it again. I know guys that ripped me off from business, contractors that took my money. I know where they live. I mean, I can see their face. I know their name. I know everything about them. There's nothing you can do about it except taking to court. There's really unscrupulous people anywhere in any business. So, I think that's just part of the growth, part of something that we're going to have to do. And I think the more we do this type of stuff, the better we're going to get. And I think that's why this is so important. Having the in real life events, having a solid community, people that have the same principles and believe in the same philosophy. I believe that that's very, very important in, making this industry a better place and a safer place for people to come and, invest in.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you hit it. Like there are so many unscrupulous people. You got to do your research. You got to check up with who's running it. You got to see what they have anything to lose. Guys who are coming in the industry are starting to realize that there are some serious regulations that come with this when you're taking money's going from there. The one thing that makes me laugh about this and your thoughts is like, you see all these NFTs that are coming out, right? And there's some good ones, the ones that maintain, but they lack complete and utter utility, right? I mean, there really is. It's like even now in this market, as they're doing this, they're saying we're going to do this, and the market's going to come out, and we're gonna have a utility. And I think that like NFT 2.0 is about having utility now before you launch, having your real case use, right? And I think it's going to start weaving out more and more people, man. What do you think about all that?
I mean, the utility, it's rough because it's really tough to build a utility around an NFT project. There's a lot of dynamics that really work against you, like people being all over the world, and it's a cartoon picture, and people give you money one time, and then what, right? So there's a lot of dynamics where a normal business, you have revenue coming in, you can kind of scale up and down. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do in a traditional business that you can't in an NFT project. And I think, that's why it's important when people are investing in projects to look at who's doing it, what have they done, who have they worked with, have they been successful, are they Are they seasoned? Do they know what they're doing? Those are very, very important things. And do you vibe with the community? You know, is it your tribe, right? So I think that it's important to, you know, think of an NFT as, you know, not only a business but entrance to a club, right? You know, utility is, for me, I love hanging out in the Blue Chimps because there are other business owners. You know, there are people who are venture capitalists, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're smart people. You know, my in real life business benefits from being a part of it. I mean, you know, so many things that you can look at that come into play. You know, there's metaverses, video games, so many things. But, you know, I would just highly recommend, don't FOMO, do your research, like you said, and be sure that you really vibe with the philosophy. You know, the price is affordable, and you know that the people in the community are like you, that you get along with them. You know, you vibe with them.
Yeah, you know, what I was going to tell you, and I think it's pretty amazing, is we talk about these communities and these brands and going from there. Who do you see right now? Hello?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. Who do
Okay.
you see right now that is a project that excites you, and going from there, you know, that has something that's potential out there that's a killer?
I mean, you know, it's tough to say. I like a lot of projects, you know, and there's a lot that I'm, you know, very questionable about. I mean, I might be biased, but I love the Blue Chimps. I like a project called Apes Together Strong. I don't know if you've heard of that, but the guy that runs that, his name is Brando. He's a younger guy, just newlywed, just got married this month. But the guy is a mover and shaker. Somebody, you know, I'm a 42-year-old guy, so I know how to identify, you know, strong players, people who have a big future. So I'm always looking for not the fighters that have won the heavyweight, but the guys that are going to be the heavyweights, right? That's who I like to try to identify. And I like that project, ATS. I hold one, and I love it. And in regards to community, I like the Lazy Lions. They have a very strong community, probably one of the strongest communities. You know, recently they released, founders released a project, and you didn't even see the founders anywhere. They didn't even show up to the mint. It was all the community. 100% of the community went out there, and they sold that entire project out without the founders even being there. So to me, that is, you know, evidence, or, you know, a very good signal to me, that, you know, that's a strong community. And in regards to the ATS, you know, that guy, you know, what he's doing is amazing work. So those are two projects besides Blue Chimps I'm very bullish on.
You know, as you talk about these communities and people going from there, there's that buy and sell process, right? And the community is always a second tier of buying and go from there. And Gary talks a lot about how he has his first set, and then when he made his second value of money after the sells, now it continues to work from there, and it continues to fund and the endeavors that go from there. You know, you talk about Blue Chimp a little bit, and you guys did a pretty cool thing, right? So tell us a little about Blue Chimp and kind of the theory and process behind it that really developed into what it became.
Yeah, you know, so there was a bunch of us. We're in Telegram. We're trading tokens. We're just messing around, early days, right? And you know, we were. I had a buddy who was a law enforcement officer, and he was launching. They have these things called challenge coins for first responders, and he was trying to put them on the blockchain. So, you know, I saw him try to do it, and when he would try to get up into Twitter, um, you know, they wouldn't bring him up, and when he was up there, it was like they would shut him down real quick. And I said, you know what, this space, it's like you either know the good old boys or you fail. That's it. It's either you're plugged in with the, you know, the good old boys, or it's a tough deal. So the Blue Chimps, we thought, hey, you know what, we need a community that builds other communities. And so we released the Blue Chimps. I think all of us pitched in one BNB into a wallet. We launched the Blue Chimps. And it was a very small collection. There was 20 of us. And we said, okay, everybody go get 10 people. That's all you got to get. Each of us get 10 people each. And, you know, we'll sell 1,000 NFTs and we're good. And then we'll go out and we'll take all that money we raised in the mint, and we'll use that for seed funding and helping people build their Discord out and hire Discord security and pay for things like launching their contract and all those things that are very expensive and very risky. People take those risks, the small guys, and sometimes it just doesn't work out and it really hurts them. So, that's why the Blue Chimp for creative, almost an equalizer, try to almost level the playing field. Since we launched successfully about last November. It was a awesome launch. I mean, we had Twitter was at our mint day. We had OpenSea, Shaquille O'Neal. Everybody showed up. It was just everybody was like, this idea of collaboration was very fresh. You didn't see it too much. It was pretty much every project's on their own. So, when we started to evolve and we started actually building the project, I realized quickly that, man, these guys, these 200 guys that we have, boy, they're really good at this. I mean, we're building leaders in the space. These guys they're out now. They're mods and they're community managers, and they're going out into the NFT space. And I was like, not only are we building, helping build communities, partnering people to help them build up, but we're also creating leaders in the space. So, I became very bullish on the Blue Chimps very quickly when I realized, what people actually got out of it from becoming a Blue Chimp. I don't know if there's any utility like it. It's almost a gladiator school. To come in, those guys have been on thousands of hours of Discord calls and Twitter Spaces, and helping 14 different project creators launch their projects. I mean, it's just been one hell of a ride, and I'm very proud to say that that the Blue Chimps have created some amazing leaders in the space, and been that platform for them to get out there and dig in, dive in the deep end. You know what I'm saying?
It warms my heart to hear this. Nothing frustrates me more, and business is business, right? So when you don't have the community is your client and your product. It's the guys who want to buy, right? Who want to maintain and support your group. When you look at these duds in any business, anything else, I've had experiences where you're going through and you're meeting people and you're advising and talking to them, and because they don't like what they hear, they turn around, try to do it themselves, and ultimately fail because they're the one-offs that don't really want to listen to the whole entire community as a whole because you've been through it, right? If you succeed, the community succeeds. And you have to deal with these guys, right? And the success is where they're at in these values. At the same time, as you're building this community and you're building this base of just excellence in what you're trying to do, I know and I believe for a fact that the next level that's going where it's going to be at is going to be institutions and groups working together and cross utilities and cross uses and cross plays. Because as you're looking at the stacks between what Solana is doing and Polygon's doing and how they're buying and merging and doing things that exist, they're also starting to buy these other companies that are working together. And to hear that you have a group that understands the necessity of working with other groups is so powerful and pivotal. And I think that's what makes a great leadership. Do you see groups working more and more together at a quicker rate to get to that real institutional size funding side of things, or do you still see it being very independent separately and people trying to do it on their own given the current market?
I mean, it really is, and it's not an instant thing, David. When we work with a project, there's infrastructure that we had to build in the Blue Chimps. There's a vetting process, and there's a process that we go through for negotiating and sales and marketing. There's so many different moving parts to what we do, and one big part of that is making sure that we um, build a relationship first and foremost, that we build a relationship with those project creators so we can fill them out before we start introducing them into the super community or our ecosystem. We want to make sure that they're good enough for us to put our name behind. And I can tell you, nothing's perfect. Even we aren't perfect. But we've been very, very lucky. Most of the people that we've got behind are still here and they're still fighting today. So I'm very proud to say that we have helped a lot of very, very good people. And then, some people just didn't make it, and I mean that's just nature. I think it's the cycle of life, right? So, um, but I can tell you, David, it's not easy, and even with our guys, we meet every day in the Discord. We have a roundtable. We meet at 11 a.m. every morning, all around the world. But now, recently, since the bear market, we've scaled back to 3 days a week, just because people have to work a little more these days, their real life jobs. So we scaled our daily meetings to every other day, and it's been very successful. But even with that kind of collaboration, with that kind of communication and those minds at the table, it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. So I would say that, it all goes back to, being at a table like that, being with your friends, being with somebody, building a friendship and a relationship, and going out and meeting up with those guys in real life in New York and LA and Las Vegas, at some of the IRL events. So that's the reason we're doing this is it's a way for us to network and build those relationships stronger. So now when we get back into the Web3 space, we're just better. We just become better people. We have a better relationship, better charisma, and all of the above. So
I love that. I think that you look at it as complete centric and you've done all that. And it's inspiring because you took it from doing what was good and it was right in a community that believed in what it was supposed to be, created such an amazing program. And now I'm very, very proud to even be part of the speaking lineup for your event. And so I thank you for having me there graciously as well. And I'm looking forward to doing amazing things. And before we go, I wanted to ask you, what's one piece of advice that you would give everybody in business or in life?
in business or in life, well, my rules that I live by is rule number one: don't die. That's rule number one. Rule number two: don't smoke crack. And then rule number three, uh, everything's gonna be okay. Just be happy. Those are the big things. You know, just be happy and don't die. That's the deal.
100%, man. Always have to be happy and going from there, man. Geeks,
That's
I
right.
appreciate you. I'll see you next week. For Pandanomics and David Chen, thank you guys. Good night.
Let's go. Thanks, David.
Thank you, buddy.